Hey imaginary friend, today I want to let you in on a little secret that I wish someone had told me years ago when I started my first business. Growing your business from side hustle to a full-time income doesn't have to be something that happens very slowly. It doesn't have to be a super long process that requires years of working a day job until you've saved enough money to make the leap from side hustle to full-time. It doesn't have to look like gradually raising your prices as a freelancer and paying your dues for X amount of years until you feel like you're finally worth charging more. I know that those are stories that work for a lot of people, so I'm not here to tell you not to do things that way if that's what feels true to you. But I just want to let you know that it doesn't have to be that way if you don't want it to. It doesn't have to be that super slow, super long process that takes years and years before you're finally at the level that you actually want to be at. As wild as it sounds, it's actually possible to scale your business so much faster so that you can finally start living that dreamy, being your own boss life that you've been fantasizing about for years. And maybe that sounds too good to be true. Maybe it sounds like a fantasy, but honestly, it's really not. As long as you know what to actually focus your energy on when you're building your business. This was my own lived experience, okay? I literally went through this myself. I used to have a side hustle online store for over 5 years that honestly never reached the level of success that I wanted it to. I was never able to reach the level of success that I've been able to reach in my new full-time creative business. I recently in my business hit that elusive 10K month milestone, and it happened way sooner than I expected it to. And it was without paying for ads, without sending awkward DMs to strangers, and without growing my Instagram following. I actually lost followers. And, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with those strategies that I just mentioned, but they just weren't what actually made the biggest impact. They weren't the thing that I needed to shift my focus on. Okay, so now it's unpopular opinion time. You've been warned. But one of the actual things that I learned from my experience was that trying to grow my business the quote unquote safe way as a part-time side hustle, that was actually the thing that was keeping me small. You hear it all the time. What you're supposed to do is you start your business as a side hustle and don't quit your day job until you can match your income and have a year's worth of living expenses saved up as a safety net. And that's the advice that I was trying to follow when I first started my business all those years ago as a university student. I was trying to be smart and safe. But in my opinion, the really big problem with running your business as a part-time side thing for years and years before you make the leap is that it doesn't ever push you out of your comfort zone. And it honestly puts you at risk of burning out before you've ever even made that jump. Now, that might sound controversial, but stay with me here, okay? I have a point. Because the big problem with always staying in your comfort zone is that it never pushes you to become that higher level boss version of yourself. So when you finally do make the leap, you haven't actually developed the entrepreneurial mindset to actually be your own boss, to overcome the challenges and stress of actually being in charge of yourself for real. And I'm just speaking from my own experience here, okay? When I had my side hustle business, I was thinking like a side hustler. I was making decisions like a side hustler. So my results were side hustle level results. I was making side hustle money. And don't get me wrong, okay? There is nothing wrong with having a side hustle if that's what you want. Just having an extra income to supplement your day job, maybe explore your creativity in your free time. That is beautiful, and that works for a lot of people. But the thing is, that wasn't my goal. I wanted to grow my business beyond the side hustle level. I always wanted to be my own boss, set my own rules, work whenever and wherever I want. And I wanted to make a good full-time income doing something that I actually cared about. This is actually one of the things that I talk about in my free training, all about how I went from struggling side hustler all those years ago to now being a thriving creative business owner. If you haven't actually watched that video yet, definitely go check it out. I'll put a link in the description below. In that class, I talk about the biggest lesson that I learned from my years of making mistakes as a struggling side hustler. And what I found is that the most important thing to do as a business owner is to set a strong foundation for yourself. Because as your business grows and evolves, everything that you build and layer needs to be rooted and supported by something strong. And in my experience, the best way to build that strong foundation is starting with an intentional brand strategy and an elevated mindset. But unfortunately, a lot of people put that stuff off. They put it to the bottom of the priority list when it comes to building their business. Instead of building a strong brand identity, they just use free templates and DIY a logo using a random free font that they found on Pinterest. And instead of leveling up their mindset, they jump from one thing to the next, constantly pivoting their strategy, trying to figure out the magic formula, the 5 steps to success. And honestly, I can't help but think that that might be why so many entrepreneurial businesses actually fail in the first few years, because they never bothered to build a strong foundation. And if you're watching this, I just want to do whatever I can to make sure that doesn't happen to you too. Now, obviously, I'm not telling you to quit your day job right now if you have one, but what I hope that you can do right now is start shifting into that future version of you, that successful independent business owner that you really want to be. Start elevating your beliefs. Start defining your brand strategy. What do you want to be known for? Who are you here to help? Things like that. And because I love helping people like you build successful brands, I actually have a couple freebies for you that I'll link in the description below. There's the training that I mentioned earlier, where I dive a little deeper on this topic. And I also have a free branding workbook that will help you to start defining your brand identity in a really intentional and strategic way. Those links are all going to be in the description down below for you. Okay, bye.